Good morning. So I am P. Babu, Associate Professor, Department of Computer Applications, PSNI College of Engineering and Technology, Dindigul. Today I am going to deliver a video lecture on the topic network programming. Before entering into network programming, let us start with some of the basic concepts in networking. So first, what do you mean by a network? So network is nothing but a collection of two or more computers that are interconnected through some transmission media. So why do we need this networking? So there are two main purposes. One is called communication. Second one is resource sharing. So communication is nothing but the exchanging of data between two systems. The two systems may be a client machine or a server machine. So between a client and a server, a data can be exchanged through some network. So this is called as communication. Second one is called resource sharing. Resource sharing in the sense, so we can share the resources from remote computer. For example, I have a server, so it is in some remote place. So this is the client, so some file is available in the server, so through this networking I can share the file in my system. So these are all the two main purposes of this networking. One is called communication, another one is called resource sharing. Now just we will see what are all the basic components of communication model. So basic components of communication model are, first one is called as source, second one is called as transmitter, third one is transmission medium, fourth one is called receiver, and the fifth one is called destination. So the source, a device that can generate the data, is called a source. A device that can generate the data is a source. Second, transmitter, the data transmitted by the source cannot be transmitted directly over this transmission media. So the transmitter converts the data received from the source and convert it into a suitable format so that the data travel over this transmission media. So the main purpose of a transmitter is receives the incoming data from the source and convert it into a suitable format so that it must transmit over the transmission media. Next one, transmission medium. The transmission media may be a single line, it may be a single transmission line, or it may be a complex network, that connects source and destination. Then next one is called as receiver. So the receiver receives the data from the transmission media and convert it into a suitable format so that the destination system can understand. right. So next one, destination receives the data from the receiver. So the block diagram of the data communication model is source, next one transmitter, next one transmission medium, next one receiver, then next one destination. So these are all the 5 different components already we discussed: source, transmitter, transmission media, receiver, then destination. So for example, the source generates a text. So example for a source is the workstation or some PC is the source. Next, the transmitter is a modem. Transmitter is a modem. Then next one, transmission media is nothing but a public services telecommunication network. Then the receiver, again it is also a modem. Then the destination system is nothing but a server. So for example, in the source converts that text into a square waves like this. The source converts the text into a square wave. So it is called as digital signals. It is called as a digital signal. Square wave is also called as a digital signal or digital data. So what the modem will do is converts this digital data into a analog data or analog signals. So it is a square wave, the analog signal is a sine wave like this. Now this analog data transmitted over this transmission media. Now we have received analog data. The receiver converts this analog data into a square wave, then it reaches to the destination in the form of a text. So this is the basic of communication model. So this is the basic. So we have a source, generates the data, transmitter converts the data into a suitable format so that it transmits over the media. So media is a single transmission line or a complex network. Then receiver receives the data from the transmission media and convert it into a suitable format so that the destination can understand. Then next one, destination receives the data from the receiver. Okay. So this is the best example for source is a workstation, transmitter and receiver is nothing but a modem, then transmission media a single transmission line or a complex network. There are 2 types of communication. There are 2 types of communication network. One is called local area network, another one is called wide area network. So local area network, then another one is called wide area network. So what is the difference between local area network and wide area network? So local area network normally covers a small geographical area. So small geographical area in the sense the distance is not more than 1 kilometer. For example, if you take our college building, okay, suppose if you take an example of our college, so we have a main computer center. From the main computer center various departments are connected, maybe civil department, mechanical department, ECE department, CSE department, IT department. So it can be connected by means of some fiber optic cable. Here in each and every department they have some switches, right? Each and every department they have some switches. These switches that can interconnect the systems within the civil department, right? So this is the local area network. So we can exchange the data within this local area network. Like this PSNA network, we can have some other network. For example, Anna University, they have a separate server. From the server, various departments are connected through some fiber optic cable, right? Now this is a local area network. This is here the data transfer rate in local area network is maybe 100 Mbps, that is megabits per second, or you can call it as data transfer rate, or you can call it as bandwidth, right? In local area network the bandwidth is high, right? Bandwidth is high, and this local area network can be owned by a single party. It is owned by a single party. It means that whatever be the problem arises in PSNA network, the PSNA management is responsible to rectify the fault within this local area network. Okay. Next, similarly for Anna University, again it is called one local area network. So whatever be the problem arises within this network, Anna University is responsible. Now what is the meaning of this wide area network? So this is one local area network, this is another local area network, these two are connected. So over a large geographical area, so maybe it can connect the state or country or district and so on. How it is possible? So here we have a device called as a router, here we have a device called as a router. So these routers are connected to a public service telecommunication network, or you can call it as ISP, internet service provider. So the service provider may be BSNL or Airtel or somebody. So this is the difference between local area network and wide area network. So local area network covers only a small geographical area, right? Data transfer rate in local area network is high. It is owned by a single party. It means that whatever be the problem arises in this local area network, the management is responsible. Similarly, wide area network, it covers a large geographical area. Data transfer rate is somewhat low compared with local area network. Here only a portion of that network, in wide area network only portion of that network can be owned by S party. It is not entirely, it is owned only a small portion, it is owned by a single party. These are all the two different categories of networking. Next one, what is the transmission media? So media is nothing but a physical path between the source and destination. A physical path between source and destination. So there are two types of media. One is called guided transmission media, another one is called unguided transmission media. So guided transmission media means that the waves are signals that are guided along a specific path, to reach the destination. The waves are signals that are guided along a specific path to reach the destination. So the example for a guided media is One is called twisted pair cable. Second one is called coaxial cable. Then third one is called fiber optic cable or optical fiber cable. So these are all the three different kinds of guided media: twisted pair cable, coaxial cable and optical fiber cable or fiber optic cable. In these two cables, twisted pair and coaxial cable, the data can be transmitted in the form of electromagnetic signals. But in fiber optic cable, the data can be transmitted in the form of light rays. Next one, unguided media. Here the waves or signals are not guided over a specific path. So the signals are waves that can travel in any direction and it can reach the destination. So for example, terrestrial, so the examples are wireless transmission. The examples of wireless transmission: one is called terrestrial microwave. Then second one is called satellite microwave. Then third one is called broadcast radio. Then fourth one is called infrared. These are all the some of the wireless transmission mechanisms: terrestrial microwave, satellite microwave, broadcast radio and infrared. Next topic is TCP bar IP. So before going to see that, various addressing used in networking. So I think you are familiar with the three topics. One is called what are all the various components of data communication systems. What are the various components of data communication system? Then what are the different categories of communication? Then third one is what are all the different types of transmission media: guided transmission media and unguided transmission media. Do you have any doubt? Just you can ask, please. So if you don't, okay, next we will see that various addressing used in networking. So there are three kinds of addressing used. One is called MAC address. Second one is called IP address. And third one is called port address. Right? So MAC address is nothing but media access control address, or you can call it as physical address or hardware address or media access control address. Actually this address is printed or burnt in an NIC card, network interface card, or you can call it as Ethernet card. This address is a 48-bit address. Actually the MAC address is a 48-bit address. So what is the purpose of this address is, it is used to identify a system in a network, right, which is used to identify a system in the network. Suppose the data packet entered into the PSNA network, within PSNA exactly which is the destination system. To identify the particular system, we are using a MAC address. So these 48 bits, 24 bits are assigned for OUI, that is organizational universal identifier. The remaining 24 bits are assigned by the manufacturer of the NIC card. So who is the manufacturer? So he will assign the 24 bits. So like 24 plus 24, 48 bits are there. So for example of a MAC address is, so 000 AB 1C, then 0071. So it is nothing but a MAC address. So what is the meaning this? Actually this 48 bit is represented in hexadecimal format. So various numbering can be used in digital networks. One is called binary, decimal, octal, hexadecimal, like that. So here the 48 bits can be represented using hexadecimal format, right? So we have totally 12 digit, 12 into 4, so totally we have 48 bits. So next one, IP address. So the second type of address is an IP address. So actually the IP address is also called as logical address. Second one is called as an IP address. So the IP address is a logical address. IP address is a logical address. Actually it is a 32 bit address. These 32 bits can be represented in 4 octets like this. The 32 bits can be represented in 4 octets, right? For example 192, 168, 0, 1. So here 8 bit, here 8 bit, here 8 bit, here 8 bit, totally you have 32 bits. It is represented in decimal format. Here it is represented in hexadecimal format, here it is represented in decimal format, right? And what is the purpose of an IP address? It is used to identify a system or identify a network, right, which is used to identify a network in which the destination system is located, that is the main purpose of this IP address. So the IP address which is used to identify the network where your destination system is there, that is the main purpose of this IP address. Actually there are different categories of IP addresses, class A IP address, class B, we don't go into detail, right? Next one, port address. So the third type of addressing is called as port address, or you can call it as a port number, right? So what is the purpose of this port address? Which is used to identify a particular application within a system, which is used to identify a particular application within a system. What is the meaning of identify a particular application? So you have a destination system, right? We can identify the destination system through that MAC address. Then why do we need this port address? So in destination system we can run multiple applications at the same time. We can run multiple applications. Multiple application. What is the meaning of application here? So first one is called as email application. Second one is called as file transfer application. So third one is called as web application, and the fourth one is called as remote login application. Then fifth one is called as network management application. Like that we have so many applications. So in a single system we can run all the applications at the same time. For example, you have application 1 mail application, just we have to minimize that window, sending the mail, minimize the window. Then next application is file transfer. For downloading the file, the system takes some amount of time, again we have to minimize that window. Then we can see some web application, right. So the data comes to the destination system through the cable, right. So the destination system does not able to identify in which applications the data is to be delivered, in which applications the data is to be delivered. So to identify an application within the system, we are using a port number. Since what is the meaning of here port number? So used to identify a particular application, various applications are there. So these applications are supported by a well defined protocols. So here the concept of a protocol is very important, right. What is the meaning of a protocol? What is a protocol? Protocol is nothing but a set of rules that governs an exchange of information between two systems. What are all the rules to be followed, right? What are all the rules to be followed during the exchanging of information between the two systems? So actually various components of protocols are there. The components includes syntax, semantics, then timings. Okay, here I told that various applications, and the applications are supported by protocols. For example, the mail applications can be supported by a protocol called as SMTP, Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. Then POP3, Post Office version 3 protocol. Similarly, file transfer application supported by FTP, File Transfer Protocol, or Trivial File Transfer Protocol, TFTP. Web application can be supported by HTTP, Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Remote login, it is supported by a protocol called as Telnet, Terminal Login. Network management, it can be supported by a protocol called as SNMP, Simple Network Management Protocol. Like we have various applications, each and every applications can be supported by a protocol, and each and every protocol is assigned with a port number. For example, SMTP is assigned with a port number 25, POP3 is assigned with a port number 119, FTP is assigned with a port number 21, Telnet, this is TFTP 120, HTTP 80. Like that, each and every protocol is associated with some port number. Using that port number, we can uniquely identify an application within the system, since multiple applications can be run in a system at the same time. So these are all the three different categories of addressing used in networking. So this is very important, just you can note down. So a MAC address, IP address and port address. So MAC address is a physical address, actually it is printed in the NIC card. Without an NIC card you cannot connect your system into the network, right. It is a 48-bit address. Among this 48-bit address, 24 bits are assigned by OUI and remaining 24 bits are assigned by manufacturer. Actually this address is burnt in NIC card in hexadecimal format. The purpose of this MAC address is to identify a destination system in a network. Then next one is called as IP address. IP address, there are two versions of IP address. One is IP version 4, another one is called IP version 6. I forgot. IP version 4 and IP version 6. Version 4 is a 32-bit IP address and version 6 is a 128-bit IP address. Normally we are using this 32-bit IP address, so which is used to identify a network in which the destination system is located. This is IPv4 address. Then already I told that there are 4 octets are there. Each and every octet consists of 8 bits and the number is printed in the decimal format. So which is used to identify a network. Then the third one is called port number or port address, which is used to identify an application within the system. Since multiple applications can be run in a single system, in order to identify a particular application, we need a port number. So because each applications are associated with a protocol, the protocol having a port number. So next one we will see that one of the important model used in networking is TCP/IP reference model, because all our communications happens through this model only, TCP/IP reference model. So actually this model is developed in the year 1990, right, for US military purpose, right, for US military purpose. And funded by Department of Defense. So according to this TCP/IP reference model, we have 4 layers, that is the entire data communication task is divided into 4 layers. The first layer you can call it as an application layer. First layer you can call it as an application layer. Second one is called as a transport layer. Then the third one is called as internet layer. Then the fourth one is called as network access layer. Network access layer, application layer, transport layer, internet layer, network access layer. So already I told that the purpose of the network layer is it provides some sort of services to various networking applications like mail application or file transfer application or remote login application. So provide some services to these applications. That is the main purpose of this application layer. Next one, transport layer. So main purpose of the transport layer is end to end connectivity. It checks the connectivity between the application processes. End to end connectivity between the application processes, right? It includes reliability, whether the data has been correctly received by the application, then flow control, error control, segmentation and reassembly. Segmentation and reassembly. Like that we can say so many duties of the transport layer: reliability, flow control, error control, segmentation and reassembly, some of the functionality of transport layer. Next one, internet layer. The main purpose is routing. Main purpose is routing and path selection. Routing and path selection. So what is the meaning of routing? Forwarding. It is the process of forwarding the data packet from one network to another network through IP address. That's all. Routing, it is the process of forwarding the data packet from one network to another network through IP address, right? So that is the main purpose of this internet layer. One network, I told that PSNA network, Anna University network. So we have a router, they have a router. So between the router, how the data is transferred or exchanging, how the data is exchanging, that is done by this internet layer. Then next one is called network access. Here access to the reliable media, access to reliable media. So this is the main functionality of network access layer. So we can access the media to transmit the data over the media, so that the media carries the data to reach the destination. So that is the main purpose. Here we are defining the logical physical addressing, right? Then topology. Topology is nothing but the arrangement of systems in the local area network, how we are going to arrange the systems, that is called as a topology. These are all some of the duties of this network access layer. So each and every layer is associated with some functionalities. These functionalities can be done by some protocols at each and every layer, right? For example, application layer, I already told that SNMP, right, is for network management, right? SMTP for mail application, then FTP for file transfer application. So we can define the application protocols in the application layer. Then next layer is a transport layer. Here we have to define two important protocol. One is called a TCP, another one is called UDP, right? TCP is nothing but a transmission control protocol. UDP is nothing but a user datagram protocol. Then in the internet layer we have a protocol called as IP. It is nothing but internet protocol. Then in the network access layer we have some technologies like Ethernet, network access, Ethernet or token ring or FDDI, that is fiber distributed data interface, or it may be a wireless media like this. So some applications can be supported by TCP, some applications can be supported by UDP. For example, TFTP is an application that can be supported by UDP. SNMP can also be supported by SNMP. Now IP supported by TCP and UDP, network access. Okay. So this is the TCP IP reference model, or you can call it as a protocol architecture of TCP IP reference model. So we have an application layer, right? We have a transport layer, then we have a network layer or internet layer, then here it is called as network access layer. Network access layer. So again I told that this is Ethernet technology. It is supported by a protocol called as HDLC, high level data link control, or another protocol called as link access procedure, B protocol. Like that we have defined so many protocols, right? Application layer, transport layer, then internet layer, then network access layer. So how the data has been transmitted now? Just we will see that how the data can be transmitted now. For example, this is the source, right? Here in the application layer we have a original data, right? Application layer we have a original data. For example, mail application data is there. When it comes into transport layer, the transport layer adds its own header, is nothing but source port number, destination port number along with your original data. When it enters into network layer, the network layer adds its own header like source IP address, destination IP address, then source port number, destination port number, then you have a data. When it enter into network access layer access layer adds source MAC address, destination MAC address, source IP address, destination IP address, then source port number, destination port number, then data. After that it is a trailer, it means that end of the frame. Now this information converted into zeros and ones, it converted into zeros and ones and it transmitted. This is your system now, source system, right? Now the system is connected through some media. So I assuming that it is the twisted pair cable. Now the data goes to the router, right? Goes to the router and it is forwarded. Here you have to configure the router so that the data can be forwarded to another router. So like that it can be forwarded and reach the destination system. So we have a destination system. In destination system, do you know which layer that can receive this data? Anybody knows? Yeah, it is correct. So network access layer receives the data. So it receives source MAC address, destination MAC address, all the informations are there. Source MAC, destination MAC, source IP, destination IP. Just this will be seen. The destination system can see only the MAC address, destination MAC address, whether we are the right person to receive this data, whether we are receiving this data, whether we are the right person to receive this data. If it is okay, then it can strip off these two bits, that is source MAC and destination MAC, strip off or remove these two headers, and the remaining informations will be forwarded to next higher level layer, Next higher level layer, it sees the IP address, source IP address, destination IP address, source port number, destination port number, then you have a data, right? Now the system again verify whether we are the correct system based on this destination IP address. It is correct, then strip off this information and forward the remaining information to the next higher level layer, source port number, destination port number, then you have a original data. Then you have a original data, right? Right. Now the transport layer sees that, because in your destination system multiple applications can be run. You know that? Already I told that. Okay. In which application? So we have a data. This application is to be, this data is to be delivered to which applications? That is decided by this destination port number. That is decided by this destination port number. Now, for example, the destination port number is 23. Okay, actually this data is to be delivered to mail application. Right? The data is to be delivered to, SMTP port number is 25. So automatically the data is to be delivered to mail application. Suppose if the port number is 21, destination port number is 21, the data is to be delivered to file transfer application, like that. Now the original data can be received by the application layer. Okay, so the source, the application layer builds the data, transport layer adds its own header. It is nothing but encapsulation, that is adding some information along with your original data, that is called as encapsulation. When it enters into internet layer or network layer, some information again it is added, right? Again when it enter into the network access layer, again some information is added. So now entire thing is converted into zeros and ones. It must be transmitted over the network through the routers. We have some algorithms, routing algorithms are there, like a distance vector routing algorithm, link state routing algorithm, like that. So many routing algorithms are there. Using that routing algorithms, the data can be forwarded and reaches to the destination system. In the destination system, the destination system network access layer receives the data. It checks the MAC address. If the MAC address is okay, we are the authorized system to receive the data. If it is okay, it can strip off the source MAC and destination MAC. The remaining header information will be forwarded to the next higher level layer. It will check the IP address. Again it is okay, this information forwarded to next higher level layer. It check only the port number. If the port number will be okay, so to which applications the data is to be delivered, so the data, only data is to be delivered to the application layer. So this is this type of communication. Data, here also you have data. This type of communication is called as peer-to-peer communication. That is, application layer generates the data in the source system. The data can be seen only by the destination system application layer. So that is called as peer-to-peer, or you can call it as process-to-process communication. Okay. So this is the TCP/IP reference model. Why I am saying this? This is the basic. In our networking scenario, this is the model we have followed. Next, I told that there are two protocols. One is called TCP and UDP. So TCP is the transmission control protocol. Already I told that the main purpose, it is a connection oriented protocol. It provides guaranteed delivery of data to the destination. Similarly, sequenced delivery of data. UDP is a user datagram protocol. It is a connectionless. It does not give guarantee that the data can be reached to the destination. Then you can ask, who is giving the who is going to give the guarantee? So the application layer, corresponding application layer protocol will give the guarantee. Next, IP is nothing but the internet protocol. So it is responsible for routing the data from source to destination, or finding the path, right? Finding the path to reach the destination. That is the main purpose of this IP. Again, IP is a connectionless. So that's why in today's scenario, wherever you see that TCP bar IP, the main reason is, right, the main reason is TCP is the transport layer protocol which provides guaranteed delivery of data to the destination. IP is a connectionless protocol. It provides a path to reach the destination. It provides path to reach the destination. So it will send the data to the destination, right? But it does not assure you that the data has been correctly reached to the destination. But TCP provides a guaranteed delivery of data. It is a connection oriented, right? So that's why we will see the TCP/IP reference model. And next we will come to network programming concept, because once you understand this concept, then only you can easily understand the programming. So any doubt? If you have any doubt, just you can ask. So network programming, so here the communication between source, or we can call it as a client, and a destination is nothing but a server, is achieved by means of a socket. Right? The communication between client and a server is achieved by means of a socket. But what do you mean by a socket? Right? So socket is nothing but an interface which is used to provide communication between two systems. Right? Is an interface which is used to provide communication between two systems. The two systems may be a client machine and another one is called server machine. So how to create a socket, right? There are different types of socket. One is called as a TCP socket, another one is called UDP socket. So TCP is a connection oriented, UDP is connectionless socket. So we can create a socket using socket function, right? We can create a socket using socket function, right? So what are all the arguments that we are going to pass in this socket function is, first argument is family, second argument is type, and the third argument is a protocol. Right? Family, type and protocol. So the family is nothing but AF underscore INET. So it is defined by Dennis Ritchie and Ken Thompson, because they will develop this programming for Unix operating system. So family AF underscore INET, type is what type of socket we are going to create. For example, if you want to create a TCP socket, we can specify sock underscore stream. Right, we can specify sock underscore stream. If you want to create UDP socket, we can specify sock underscore dgram. If you want to create a raw socket, one more socket is called as raw socket, right? Sock underscore raw. So what is this? This is a TCP socket, this is a UDP socket. So other than TCP and UDP, we can create a raw socket. So this raw socket, what is the purpose of this raw socket is, the application process can create its own header, because the stream and datagram TCP have its own header format, UDP have its own header format. So the application process goes with this format only. Suppose the process wants to build its own header, so using this raw socket it allows. Right? Similarly, what is the protocol which is used to create this socket? What is the protocol we are using? Right? For example, if you want to create stream socket, we are using a protocol called as TCP. So it can be represented by IP proto underscore TCP. Similarly, if you want to create datagram socket, we can specify at IP proto underscore UDP. If you want to create a raw socket, then we can specify IP proto underscore SCTP. So like that, we have so many, we have different kinds of protocol. So these protocols are used to create this type of socket. Next important, so this socket function returns an integer value. The socket function returns an integer value. So the integer value is nothing but socket file descriptor. It returns the socket file descriptor if the socket is successfully created, if okay. If it is not possible to create that socket, it returns the value -1 on error. It returns the value -1 on error. Next important function in the socket programming is connect function. So next important function is a connect function. So the purpose of the connect function is used by the client. The connect function is used by the client to establish connection with the server, right? To establish connection with the server. So what is the syntax of this connect function is integer connect, right? The first argument is the socket file descriptor. The second argument is the socket address structure. So that can be defined as struct sock addr underscore in star server, comma, next one sock len underscore t length. So these are all the three arguments that we are going to pass for the connect function. Again the connect function returns 0 if okay, successfully established, -1 on error. What is the first argument? So here integer socket file descriptor. So socket file descriptor is nothing but so the return value of the socket function. Already I told that if you want to create a socket, in either server or client, so the socket function returns socket file descriptor. So this is the socket file descriptor. That is the first argument. The second argument, we have to define a structure sock addr underscore in. So this is nothing but a structure variable, pointer to structure variable. But what are all the members of this sock addr underscore in? So structure sock addr underscore in. What are all the members of this structure? Because it is a structure, it consists of some members. So the first argument is uint8 underscore t, that is unsigned integer 8-bit sin underscore length. So this is the first member, length of the socket. Second one is called family, sa underscore family underscore t, sa underscore family sin underscore family. Because we are using IP version 4, we can specify the family as AF underscore inet. Then next one, port number in underscore port underscore t sin underscore port. That is port number. Already I told that it is used to identify an application. Then IP address. IP address again it is defined as another structure in underscore addr sin underscore address. Then the remaining sum of the bits are unused. So these are all the members of this structure sock addr underscore in server. So this is nothing but a structure variable, and that is using this structure variable we can access these members. What are all the members? First one is called length, right? Length of the socket address structure. Second one is family, because we have IPv4 and IPv6, right? IPv4 AF underscore inet, IPv6 AF underscore inet 6. That's all. The next one is port number, which is used to identify an application. We can specify the port number with this data type. Then next one, IP address. IP address is again defined another structure, right? Structure in addr underscore in. So what is the content of in underscore addr? Struct in underscore addr nothing but an IP address, that's all. So we can define some character or right character address like that, because we are going to specify an IP address in the format of 192.168.0.1 like that. So we are going to specify an IP address, right? Structure in underscore addr sin underscore address. Next one, character unused bits, that is these bits are set it as 0. These are all the members of the socket address, okay, structure. Then next one is called a length. So total length. So what is the total length of the socket address structure? That can be specified as a length. So this connect function is used by a client machine to establish connection with the server. So next one, we can have an bind function, right? Bind function. What is the main purpose of a bind function is to bind the IP address and port number to the newly created socket, right? Bind the IP address and port number to the newly created socket. Again, this function is used by the server. This function is used by the server. What is the main syntax of this bind function? Bind of, right? Again, same socket file descriptor, then integer socket file descriptor, then structure sock addr socket address structure, nothing but sock addr underscore in star server structure variable, then sock len underscore t length of the socket address structure. Okay, again these are all the 3 arguments, right? Again this function returns a value 0 if okay, minus 1 on error, right? Returns a value 0 okay, returns a value 0 if okay, minus 1 on error. Okay, return value is integer. Bind function that binds the IP address and port number to the newly created socket. Okay, then that is already defined, structure sock addr underscore in. So these are all the various members of this sock addr underscore in. And next one is called a listen function. So next one is called as listen function. So again this function is used by the server machine. It is using this function, the server listens the incoming request from the client. So the syntax for the listen function is again integer listen, right, socket file descriptor comma backlog argument. So again socket file descriptor, backlog means that how many client machines supported for the particular socket, how many requests can be supported by this socket. So that is called as a listen function. Again this function also returns 0 if okay, minus 1 on error, right? 0 if okay, minus 1 on error. Next function is called as accept function, right? Next function is called as an accept function. So normally this accept function is used by the server machine. Accept function is used by the server machine. That is, the server accept the client request so that it can call this accept function. So again the syntax of the accept function is integer, that is a return type, accept of integer socket file descriptor. Through the socket file descriptor the server accept the client request. Again the socket address structure sock addr underscore in star server. So it is nothing but star client comma sock len underscore t length. So this function accept function returns a new socket file descriptor value if okay, minus 1 on error, right? Minus 1 on error. So integer accept socket file descriptor, that is the first argument, it is returned by the socket function. Second one is called as socket address structure, that already I have defined. So here we are going to specify client, right? The address is client address, right? But all others, for example, in the bind function, I can specify server address, right? The reason is server IP address, here it is a client IP address. It means that the server accept this client request, that is the meaning of this. Then length of the socket address structure. This function returns a new socket file descriptor. Already one socket file descriptor is there, here it is the socket file descriptor, it is returned by the socket function. Using this new socket file descriptor only, the connection has been established with this client. That is the meaning of this accept function. Now just we will see what are all the functions that can be used. We will see the diagram TCP echo client server. How communication is possible between TCP echo so just we have a client. So the functions used in the client machines are, first one is socket, right? Next one it can call connect function, directly it can call the connect function. Similarly on the server side, first it can create a socket, first we are going to create a socket, then it can bind the IP address and protocol address for newly created socket. After that it can listen for incoming request from the client, right? Incoming request from the client. So it waits, right? It is created, it send a connection request to the server. It can send a connection request by calling connect function. Connection request by calling connect function by the client. This is the client system, or you can call it as a client program, right? It can call a connect function to send a connection request to the client. Now the server bind, it listens for waiting any request comes from the client. So it waits until a request from the client arrives. Once it comes, right? Once the request comes, it can call an accept function. It can call an accept function. Once it accept, right? So connection has been established between this client and the server. So now the client call a send function to send some data, right, to the receiver. It can send some data to the server. Using send function, it can send some data to the server. Now using receive function, right? Using receive function, the server receives the data. So waits, accept the client request. Once the accept, connection has been established, right? So just we can draw like this, okay, right? Connection has been established, and now once the connection has been established, then the client can send the data, right? Okay, data request, it requests some data from the server. So the data can be received using the receive function. Then after receiving, the server can process the data. After processing, again using send function, it can send the data back to the, right, client. Now using this receive function, client in the receive function, it can receive the data from the server, right? From the server. Okay, it can send the, once again just I can explain. So accept, connection has been established. Once connection has been established, the client can send the data to the server, right? Or it can send a request. Let us send some data to the server. The server receives the data, process the request, right? Then after processing is over, again it can send the data back to the client, okay, using send function. Now once it can be sent to the client, the client receives the data using this receive function, okay. After that it can close the connection by calling either close function call or apart shutdown function call. Now once it is closed, it is notified to the server by send receive function. Once it is closed, it is nothing but end of file, end of file. This is the data reply back to the client. Data end of file notification has been sent. I have closed the connection, like that. Some end of file notification has been sent to the server. The server receives this communication notification. It can also close the connection. So these are all the sequence of steps that can be followed between client and the server to provide a communication. Okay, these are all the system calls which is available in Unix operating system, or you can call it as Linux operating system, Unix operating system or Linux operating system. You know that Unix operating system is a multi-user, multi-process operating system, right? Multiple processes can be run at the same time. Similarly, more than one user, right? Similarly, more than one user can log in into the Unix system at the same time. So this Unix OS, right, developed by Dennis Ritchie in C language, right? Unix OS is developed by Dennis Ritchie in C language. Actually, not only Dennis Ritchie, along with Dennis Ritchie, Kent Thompson, he is also developed this Unix operating system in C language. In this Unix operating system, these are all the system calls which is available. If you want to include these system calls in your program, you can define header files, or you can include some header files like include net inet.h, right? Similarly, we can define include socket.h. We can define socket.h. I told that some of the data types like uint8, unsigned integer 8-bit, SE underscore family underscore teen underscore port underscore t, like that we have defined so many data types, and these the data types are supported by a header file include sys/types.h. Like that you have to include these header files in your program, right? And you can call these functions. So first program, right? We will see the program, right? Don't worry, we will see the program. Okay, so client.c is one program, next one is called server.c is another program, right? We will see that what are all the, so these are all the some of the system calls which is available. In the client side, you have a socket function, then connect function. So socket, which is used to create a socket, for example. So this is the client machine, we are going to create a socket at the client, right? Next, server, again we have a socket function, we have created a socket in the server also. Now between these two, connection has been established with TCP bar IP, right? TCP bar IP. Actually this is the program for a server, so we have to include the header files, right? So here we have to define the data type, variable declaration. So I told that struct socket LDR underscore in, this is the structure variable, this is the client. Then we have to define, we are going to create a socket using that here a sock underscore stream, it is the stream socket or a TCP socket. If it is not possible to create, it returns an error message. Then we can make it as some of the bits, we can make it as 0, then port number, family, we can initialize the members. We can initialize the members of the socket address structure, that is port number, address, family, all the things. So next the client machine calls a connect function, right? It can call a connect function, right? After that it can send, right, the data, then after that it can receive the data, okay,